Hello everyone, I'm Navneet Chandra and I'm an IELTS trainer. I have lots of experience behind me and I'd like you all to benefit from it. So today I'd like to start this channel by telling you about IELTS, the exam pattern. Now there are 4 modules in it, as you all must be aware. The first one is reading, then there is writing, then there is listening, and then there's speaking. Now reading, writing and listening, they comprise one main exam. And speaking is a separate module which is held on a separate day. So today first I'll just give a general preview of all these 4 modules. So when we talk about reading, now reading has 3 sections. And as most of you must be aware that there are 2 kinds of exams that take place. One is for people who want to permanently reside abroad. They don't want to come back to their native country. So for PR purpose, we have a general training exam. And for people who want to go abroad to study for academic purpose, so we have an academic exam. Now for both, there's a slight difference in reading. For general training, you have 3 sections, and in the first 2 sections, you have 2 passages each, whereas in the last section, there is one large passage. So near about 4 to 5 passages. Now, the first section is quite easy as compared to the second, and the difficulty level also keeps increasing as you move from one section to the second and from the second to the third. For the academic again, there are 3 sections, but in each section there is one large passage. And again the difficulty level keeps on increasing as you move from one section to the other. Okay. Now there are 40 questions in total. Near about 2600 to 2700 words you have to read and answer 40 questions. So you should try and give just 1 minute to one question, as some questions are trickier than the others, so they might require more time. Now you are given 1 hour for the reading section to solve these 40 questions. So after reading, we come to writing. In the writing section, there are 2 tasks. For general training, you have a letter writing task that is called task 1, and the essay, that is task 2. So for both, you get 1 hour. Whereas for the academic section, you have again 2 tasks, but here the letter, the task 1, is replaced by report writing. So the first task is report writing and the second is essay writing. And here again you're given 1 hour. So it is better to give 40 minutes to the essay because it holds 2/3 of the grade, whereas task 1 holds 1/3 of the grade. So give 20 minutes to it. Now for the essay, you need to write minimum 250 words, can go up to 280, whereas for task 1, that is a letter or a report, you need to write minimum 150 words, which can go up to 180. So your marks are also given like this: 1/3 of the grade for task 1 and 2/3 of the grade for task 2. That means the essay holds double the marks. Now it is not that you're randomly given a score on your writing section that okay, you've written a letter, you've written a report, you've written an essay, so you're randomly given a score. No. You are judged on 4 parameters. So first is task achievement or task response, as we call it for the essay. Now what happens here is that you need to attempt all the questions and you need to focus on all the parts of the different parts of the question and answer them accordingly. Then your task is achieved. Also, if you have written at least a minimum of 150 words for task 1 and a minimum of 250 words for task 2. Okay. Then second parameter is coherence and cohesion. Now in coherence and cohesion, the first part is coherence. That is your essay or your letter, or for the academic students, the report should have a logical flow. Like it should begin with an introduction and should have some body paragraphs and end with a conclusion, especially the essay. Now in the report, you don't write a conclusion, begin with an introduction, and then you write an overview, that is, give the overall picture of the report, whatever graph you get, and then two body paragraphs after that. Then in the letter writing, you have 3 bullet points which you explain in 3 different paragraphs. So it has to follow a certain pattern. Now, coherence and cohesion. Cohesion is writing everything cohesively. That is using cohesive devices like moreover, furthermore, then also words like at the outset, and these are mandatory to be used. So since that is one of the parameters, so you will be given a band accordingly. Now if you want to say something opposite, so it will be however, on the other hand, conversely, so there are many more, which I will be discussing in my later videos. I'll share a list with you of all the cohesive devices. Now after this comes lexical resources. Lexical word is derived from the word lexicon, that means a dictionary, so obviously it means vocabulary. Now some students think that we have to use some fancy words, use big words, and you'll get a very good score in vocabulary. That is not the case. Whatever you say has to be good, has to be correct. If you use fancy words and you yourself don't know the meaning, then it will not work at all in your favor. So you have to use appropriate vocabulary, topic-specific vocabulary, and that I will be discussing in my future videos. Now, next is grammatical range and accuracy. So in this, we are discussing the range of grammar. Like here you use grammatically correct sentences with the right kind of tenses and correct grammar, and also use a range of grammar. Like we use simple sentences, we use complex sentences, and we use compound sentences. So don't worry regarding complex and compound sentences. These are very simple. You just see an example here. Like if I say, okay, I commute to my workplace by metro. Now that is a simple sentence. How do I make it complex? I make it complex by giving a reason. So I say I commute to my workplace by metro because it is very convenient for me, or to avoid the morning traffic congestion. So it's as simple as that. Then once you've fulfilled all these parameters, you will be given a score in all these parameters, and an average will be taken, and that will be your score for the writing section. So you need to be good in all these 4 parameters. Follow all these 4 parameters. Then the third module is the listening section. In the listening section, you have 4 audios. Now all of these are in foreign accents. They might be Australian, they might be British, they might be American, Canadian, different accents. So for this, to become good in listening, you have to listen to a lot of English programs, whether it be some news programs or some movies or serials, and get used to listening. It's better to listen to some English podcasts rather than seeing. Better to listen, just listen to different accents. And here you have 4 audios and 40 questions in total. Now you can either give a computer-based test or a paper-based test. So if you give a computer-based test, you will get 30 minutes for the test, because Each audio is of about 6.5 minutes, and the total is about 26 to 27 minutes. So you'll get 3 minutes over and above to review your answers, whereas in a paper-based test you get 10 minutes extra, because it is better to write down your answers in the question paper and then later on write them neatly in an answer sheet. So that is why you're given 10 minutes extra for that. So in total you're given 40 minutes for a paper-based test. Now the fourth section, the fourth module is speaking. And speaking is held on a separate day, maybe 1 or 2 days before the main exam, or 1 or 2 days after the main exam, or in some places on the same day. And speaking has 3 interview rounds. The first one is personal introduction, where they'll ask you about you. Like where do you work, what do you do, where do you live, simple questions, which you need to answer in about 2 sentences, so that it shows your fluency and coherence, your pronunciation, your vocabulary, your grammar, because these are the 4 parameters on which you will be judged. Okay, fluency and coherence. Whatever you say has to be fluent without long pauses. And coherence means it should be clear, the way you speak. Second is pronunciation. Whatever you say should have a neutral accent. Shouldn't have any accent at all. Okay? You should not have any regional influence or regional accent or regional impact on your English. Then third is vocabulary. Vocabulary can be simple and good. And then lastly, grammar. Whatever you say should be grammatically correct. Now the first part, as I was saying, is your personal introduction, questions about you. Then after that, the second interview round, they'll ask you some questions. They'll give you a topic and they'll ask you to speak on that topic for 2 minutes. It will be written on a card, the question, along with some hints. And they'll also give you a pencil and a paper, and they'll say, okay, write down your points. You have 1 minute to prepare, and for that you need to speak between 1 to 2 minutes. So it is always better to be prepared for at least speaking for 2 minutes. Now after this comes the third and final round, that is the discussion round. And in the discussion round, as the name suggests, you have to speak a lot more, maybe about 5 to 6 sentences on whatever topic they give you. So they'll be asking you about 4 to 5 questions. Some 2 to 3 questions will be follow-up questions to the previous interview round, that is the cue card round. And then there'll be some general questions. So here you don't speak about yourself, but give a general overview about what you think. They might ask you about your opinion. They might ask you to evaluate somebody else's opinion. And then this will be over. So speaking hardly takes about 15 minutes. So the first question takes about 5 minutes. The second takes about 3 to 4 minutes. And the third again 5 minutes. So the speaking is over in 14 to 15 minutes. So hope this video was insightful and you gain knowledge. So please wait for my next video. Thank you.